Hi, it's Elena of Financial Demics, where I give you the tips and tools to manage your money, increase your savings and your income, and decrease your debt. And today we're talking all about increasing your financial confidence, because that is what's going to help you when it comes to getting better at your money. So I've noticed something. Every now and again, I'm talking to a family member or a friend or even a client, and they're basically talking to me about how they're currently managing their money. And they're always either a little bit sad or they're disappointed in themselves because they're either spending more than they planned on, or they don't exactly know where their money is going. But come here. Let me tell you something. You weren't born with the innate ability to master your finances. Look, managing your money is just like any other thing you had to learn as a kid and growing up. Even as an adult, right? We're consistently learning new things. So it's not something that you're just gonna know off of the top of your head. It's something that is learned, and you're gonna have to practice at it to really get good at it. Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't just jump on a bike without training wheels and knew how to ride it. I had to practice at it. I fell a couple of times, more times than I like to mention, but eventually I was able to get on and ride a bike without training wheels. Same thing for your money. You have to figure out what works for you and your situation. And truthfully, unlike a bike, money is just not a one size fits all type of thing when it comes to your personal finances. And if you're new here, I say this all the time, but you really have to go through trial and error and figure out what works for you. So what is financial confidence? Now, we know that finances has everything to do with money, right? It's all about money. We got that part down, right? But according to Webster's dictionary, the definition of confidence is a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. I think it's very important to build your financial confidence. And one thing that I don't want you to assume is that your money has to be perfect to build your financial confidence. A lot of times you can build your financial confidence just by knowing where you currently stand. So I'm going to give you some tips and some action steps so that you can build your financial confidence. So the first thing I want you to do is forgive yourself for any past mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. Shoot, everyone makes money mistakes. Nobody is out here not making any kind of money mistake. Now, you may think there's people out there who don't make money mistakes, but believe me, they just didn't tell you because they didn't want you to know they made the mistake, because money is such a taboo subject for some weird reason. But believe me, you're not the only person who has made money mistakes, and I guarantee you're not the only person who made whatever mistake you made. And then also, when it comes to mistakes, I don't know if you've been there before, but I've definitely been there where you think something is a good idea, right? Everything looks like it's a great idea. The stars are aligning, as people like to say. But then when it's all said and done, you realize that wasn't the greatest idea. Not at all. You made a mistake, but guess what? Now you know, you adjust, you keep going. And then also, really just put it into perspective. You made a mistake, and I'm gonna reiterate, a money mistake. No one passed away because of your mistake. So you can actually correct whatever mistake you made and move on and teach someone else not to make the same mistake you made. The next thing I want you to do is educate yourself about money. Now, personal finances is really something that needs to be taught in schools, and unfortunately only a few states have really implemented that. But that doesn't mean that you can't take your time and actually learn more about managing your money, investing, increasing your income, any type of topic when it comes to, especially retirement. Retirement is one of those ones that I'm gonna need you to grab a hold of and make sure that you know as much as you can about it. You don't have to be a scholar, but you need to know enough so that you can improve the state of your current finances. And now for my people who continuously say, you know, my parents didn't teach me this, have we ever thought about that maybe they didn't teach you because they didn't know themselves and they were trying to figure out themselves? And because people as a whole try to make themselves look good, like if somebody tells them they didn't know something, they're like, you didn't know that? But they didn't know themselves either. So at this point, let's not continue to focus on the fact that like my parents didn't teach me, I didn't learn it in school. Let's really change the narrative and learn on your own, and then also teach your kids or the next generation or your nieces, your nephews, your family members, your friends. Make sure that you're sharing about what you're learning with everyone that you can. And of course, I haven't mentioned how you can definitely learn about money, but there's so many ways. Of course, you can, you know, continue to come to this YouTube channel because I talk all about personal finances, but there are so many other YouTube channels out there that you can learn about the basics of personal finance, investing, trading, increasing your income. All of those channels exist. There's different podcasts. There's a whole bunch of books. Matter of fact, I did a video on books, and actually we need to update that video because there's so many other personal finance books that have come out. So we'll definitely update that video in the future. But you can learn on your own, and you have Beyonce's internet, okay? You can learn so much from the internet. I always say in my story, when I was trying to learn how to budget, I learned how to budget strictly on the internet. And I always say that like one of the first things that I learned was Dave Ramsey's zero-based budget. I always mention that, and I always mention that I also learned about Susie Orman and budgeting, and that was straight online. Now I had to tweak it so that it works for me, but I did learn about that all on the internet. So I mentioned about telling others about what you learn. And so another way to really boost your financial confidence is to talk more about money. Money is so taboo that we don't talk about it a lot. And the more that you talk about a subject, the more confident you become about that subject. Even if you are just talking about that subject in a way in which you are asking questions or going back and forth with someone to understand how they handle things, seeing if they have some tips or maybe something that they do can help you improve the way you manage your finances better. So the more and more you talk about it with others, then the more and more you're going to feel more confident about your own finances. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect finances, right? But you're learning, and the more you learn about any subject, the more confident you become. And another thing about talking about money, let's normalize talking about financial struggles also, and not laughing when someone talks to you about their financial struggles. A lot of times that person closest to you can teach you something. Regardless if they're going through a difficult financial situation, their situation can teach you something not to do. Also, you might think of something that they have not thought of to help them get out of their financial struggle because they were too busy trying to, you know, tread above water in their struggle. But maybe because you're clear-headed and that's not your situation, you may be able to give them that one little thing that they need to start swimming. So let's make that a normal thing. Like, start talking about financial struggles, and don't laugh at your friends, and don't go tell everybody else about it either. Talk to them, be there to listen to them, maybe give them a little bit of advice or thought or something they could try so that they can become better. The next thing you need to do to increase your financial confidence is really get to know your numbers. Truthfully, just clarity on where you stand financially. So basically knowing how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, knowing what debt you actually owe, knowing how much you have and maybe in your retirement accounts, having an idea of your credit score. You will have no idea, especially if you haven't done it, how clear it makes you when you just have an understanding of where you stand, even if it's not the best situation. I've definitely worked with clients before who they may not have been in the best situation, but because we went through their numbers and they actually knew, because you know, like sometimes when you know things are not quite right, you're not looking at it. You're trying to, you know, you're trying to avoid it, right? You're trying to look the other way because you don't want to face it. But once you face it and you have clarity, like, oh, okay, so it's not great, but it's better than I thought. Or it's not great, but I know what to do now to fix it. Or it's better than I thought. It's great. We're good. A lot of times when you have just that clarity, you feel like a weight has been taken off of you. So get to know your numbers, understand where you currently stand. If you need a little bit of guidance in figuring out where you stand, I do have a free download. It's called a financial checkup. It's just basically a printable that you can use, and it just takes you through what you need to look at. I do this every single month with my finances, and a few of the things that I do look at is like, what's the balance in my accounts? What is all due? How much debt do I owe? What's my current credit score? What can I do to improve? Where do I want to be? And it just gives me a little bit of clarity so that I know that, okay, I did good this month, or, you know, there's some months where, you know, we're a little over budget. Not because we want to be. Things happen. And so that gives a lot of clarity going into the next month so that I know what I need to do to get better. Another thing you can do is automate your finances. So a lot of times when I say automate, people automatically think like, oh, I'm not setting up an auto bill pay. You don't have to. You don't have to. But what you can do is create some type of schedule. So you know, like, the day I get paid, I'm going to pay these bills. I already know what needs to be due. This needs to be paid. You can also set up for your savings to run automatically. If you don't take anything else from this video, how would you set that savings up to run automatically? You know why? Because otherwise you're going to wait until it's almost payday again and see what you have left to save or left to invest. And that is not how we're going to handle these finances. We're going to be proactive. So when you set up to automatically save your money every time you get paid, then that puts you in a better situation to achieve whatever financial goals that you are working towards. And that's including investing. If you didn't notice, I already mentioned investing. So you need to be investing on a regular basis also. So make things automatic. Don't make it hard. When you got to do it manually, it's a lot of thinking. And sometimes our thoughts aren't our friends. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that first thought is like, girl, go shop. You know what I'm saying? You want those shoes? Go get them. That's not, we don't need to follow the first thought. We need to follow the second thought or the original plan to go save that money or invest that money so that we can get to where we really want to be. And since I already mentioned savings, another way to increase your financial confidence is to really build up your savings for an unexpected emergency. There is a comfort that exists when you already have money saved. Now, don't get me wrong. You don't want to pay for that. We never do. Okay? I never do. But it does feel different when you actually have the money than when you do not have the money. Another way to build your financial confidence is to understand what your credit scores are and where you stand with your credit. I think it's important to know your credit. You know, there are other personal finance experts who feels that credit is not important, but let me tell you something. If you're not rich, or you don't make a lot of money to be able to, you know, cover certain types of purchases, then you need credit. Even when it comes to if you're a person who lives in, you know, like an apartment and you need to turn on your water, your electric, or your gas, they base deposits off of credits. You can either move in with no deposits because your credit looks good, or you gonna pay more money out of your pocket because your credit might not be the best. And so it's important to understand what your credit score is, and if it's not in the greatest place, so I would say anything below, I mean, we're all aiming for the 800s, 850s, but you definitely want, if it's anything definitely below like 680, shoot, if it's below 700, really, you want to make sure that you are working towards increasing your credit score and just making sure there's nothing on your credit that is not correct, because you never know what situation you might be in where you may have to use your credit. In the comments below, let me know which tip resonated best with you and which one you're going to start working on. Make sure you hit the thumbs up video so that this video gets out to more people. The more likes we have on a video, the more people are able to see it. And if you are still watching and you're not subscribed, you know you like this, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I'm going to see you next time with an all new video.